All right, ready to dive deep. Today we're tackling how to build a full-stack web application.
Using React.js and Node.js?
That's right. No worries, though. We're not just going to throw jargon at you. We've got a Medium article,
A DEV community post.
and a YouTube video, all breaking it down step by step.
So you can actually start building.
I love it when we have multiple sources like this.
What's fascinating is they all emphasize the practical.
Yeah, not just the theory.
Exactly.
Okay, so if I'm picturing this full-stack thing,
Mm-hmm.
what are the main parts?
Think of it like a house.
Right.
The front end is what everyone sees. The design, the layout,
Gotcha.
how you interact with it, that's React.js,
Okay.
our JavaScript library,
So it's all about making that user interface dynamic.
making it interactive.
Okay, got it. Like the curb appeal.
Yes,
So then what's the stuff we don't see?
exactly. It's backend,
Behind the scenes.
the foundation.
Right.
We'll use Node.js.
Okay.
It's a JavaScript runtime environment,
Mm-hmm.
Express.js, a framework to build APIs.
So those handle all the data.
The logic,
Stuff making the app work.
all the stuff, yep.
Both the Medium article and the DV community post, they're big on making sure we have Node.js and NPM installed.
Right.
Before we even start.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Node.js lets us run JavaScript outside of a browser.
Okay.
And NPM, that's Node Package Manager, is like our toolbox.
Okay.
And lets us install
Manage all the libraries, all the code we need.
easily. Yes.
Tools checked.
All right.
Now onto the project setup itself.
Okay.
Both sources are all about creating separate directories
Yes.
for the front end and back end, calling them, client and server
I like that separation is key,
Yeah.
especially as your project grows.
for organization.
It's like having blueprints for each part of the house.
I love that analogy.
So the client directory
Right.
holds all that React code
Mhm.
for the user interface,
Right.
while the server directory houses the Node.js server and the Express.js API.
Keeps things clear. I like it.
Yes.
And these sources make getting started surprisingly easy.
Yeah, they do.
The Medium article uses Create React App to set up the front end.
Mm-hmm.
And the DEV community post uses NPM and init for the Node.js backend.
Smart moves.
Yeah.
Create React App. It gives us this pre-configured environment
Nice.
for React development. No need to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly.
And npm init creates a package.json file for our Node.js project,
Okay.
which is basically a list of all the ingredients our project needs.
Got it.
And the YouTube video, actually shows this
Visually,
step by step.
super helpful.
Very helpful.
Okay, now for the part I'm excited about.
Okay.
Building the backend.
Right.
The Medium article has this simple code snippet
Yeah.
using app.get
Yeah.
to create a basic API endpoint with express.js.
I love it. It's like setting up the kitchen
Yes.
where all the data cooking will happen. And that endpoint will be how our React front end gets the data it needs.
Okay.
The DEV community post does a great job of explaining express.js.
Mm.
It's all about defining routes,
Okay.
like pathways for data requests,
Got it.
and handling those requests efficiently.
So our backend is prepped and ready to serve data.
It is.
But then we have the React.js front end,
Right.
where the user actually sees and interacts with this data.
Yes.
How do we connect these two worlds?
The Medium article uses the fetch function in React.js,
Yeah, okay.
which is like sending a waiter to the kitchen
Okay.
to get the order, bring it back to the dining room,
I like it.
our back end, our front end.
Simple and elegant.
Yes.
And to manage this fetched data
Mm-hmm.
and keep our UI updated, React has these things
Yes.
called use effect and use state hooks.
Exactly.
Like the waiter taking the order, relaying it to the kitchen.
Bringing the food back to the customer.
Yes.
I love it.
Keeping the flow of information smooth.
It's beautiful.
And the DEV community post mentions Axios,
Mm-hmm.
another way to make API calls.
It's like a slightly different,
Okay.
but equally efficient system.
Got it.
Taking orders, delivering food,
Options are always good.
always good.
But once we've fetched this data,
Yes.
how do we actually make it look nice on the front end?
That's where JSX comes in.
Okay.
React uses JSX to let us write HTML-like code
Okay.
within our JavaScript.
Hmm?
It's like describing how each dish should be presented on the plate,
Like that.
making the data visually appealing,
Yeah.
easy to understand.
I'm a visual learner, so I loved how the YouTube video actually shows this in action,
Yes.
fetching user data
Mm-hmm.
and then using JSX to display it all nice.
It's great to see it come to life.
Yeah.
So we're essentially creating this loop.
Okay.
The front end asks for data.
Yep.
The back end sends it.
Yeah.
The user sees it displayed beautifully.
Now, to see this whole app in action,
Yes.
we need to run both our front-end and back-end applications at the same time. At the same time.
Right.
Right.
The Medium article guides us on how to run both servers.
It does.
The DEV community post specifically mentions using npm run start for the React app.
It's like turning on the lights
Okay.
in both the kitchen and the dining room, so
Yeah.
everything can function together.
And just like in the YouTube video,
Mm-hmm.
using a tool like Node.js
Yeah.
will automatically restart our backend server.
Whenever we make changes
Yeah.
to the code.
Saves a ton of time.
It does.
Keeps things running smoothly.
It's all about optimizing that development process.
Yeah, okay.
Now, there's one crucial detail we can't skip,
Okay.
which both the DEV community post and the YouTube video mention.
All right.
Core S. It stands for Cross-Origin Resource Sharing.
Cross-origin resource sharing.
It's basically a security feature built into web browsers.
So it's like a bouncer at the door, making sure no one sneaks into the wrong party.
Exactly. It prevents websites from making requests to different domains than the one they came from.
Okay.
So in our case,
The front-end React app is running on a different port, usually 3000.
Yeah.
Than our back-end Node Express server, usually 8080.
So even though it's all a part of our app, the browser sees them as separate places,
Yeah.
and Core steps in to make sure everything's legit.
Right. Without the proper CoreS setup,
Okay.
our browser would block the requests coming from the React front-end to our Node Express backend.
Oh, well.
Think of it like trying to order food from a different restaurant, but the waiter can't cross the street
Okay.
because there's a security guard in the way.
Ah, those dreaded Core S errors.
Yeah,
But luckily, the DEV community post and the YouTube video have us covered.
they do.
The post suggests using a package called Cores to handle this, while the video shows how to add a proxy configuration in the React apps package.json file.
Both methods work great.
Okay.
It's like either giving our waiter a special pass
Gotcha.
or telling the security guard to relax a bit and let our trusted requests through.
Awesome. So now we have our environment set up, our front end and back end built,
Yes.
and Core S taken care of.
All right.
What are the big takeaways our listeners should remember?
Well, I think it all comes back to understanding the fundamentals,
Yeah.
knowing the difference between front-end and back-end development, and how these technologies all work together.
Right.
React.js is our star for interactive UIs.
Right.
Node.js and Express.js run the show behind the scenes.
And as a visual learner, I have to say that YouTube video really helps bring it all together.
Yes,
Seeing those concepts in action solidifies everything.
absolutely.
What else should our listeners keep in mind?
Organization is key.
Okay.
Keeping the front-end and back-end code neatly separated.
Right.
Not just good practice, but essential for maintainability.
Hmm.
It's like having well-labeled containers in the kitchen.
Yes.
Everything is easy to find.
No one wants to search for a misplaced spice jar in the middle of cooking.
Exactly.
And don't forget about those seemingly small details,
Right.
like setting up the proxy for Core S.
Yeah.
They can save a lot of headaches later.
Absolutely.
Getting those details right from the start makes the whole process smoother.
For sure.
Okay, so now let's shift gears and talk about the fun part. What kind of awesome web apps can our listeners build with all this knowledge?
Well, what are you passionate about?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
Okay.
What problems do you see around you
Mm-hmm.
that technology could solve? If you're a music lover, you could build a music streaming app,
Okay.
like a personalized Spotify.
I'm already picturing it. A sleek React interface.
Yes.
Where you can browse songs, create playlists.
Follow other users with similar tastes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The back end would handle storing all the music data and user information.
It would.
Okay, I like that.
Or maybe you're into photography.
Mm-hmm.
You could build a platform for showcasing your work.
Okay.
Imagine a beautiful React front end
Okay.
where users can explore your portfolio, leave comments.
And even buy prints.
Exactly.
That's fantastic.
And the back end would take care of user accounts,
Image storage.
image storage, even payment processing if you wanted to sell directly through the platform.
These are just a few examples
Just to get you thinking.
to get those creative juices flowing.
The possibilities are truly endless.
Wow.
You could build e-commerce stores, project management tools, online learning platforms.
Really anything you can imagine.
Really anything you can imagine.
It's amazing how much power these technologies give us.
It is.
It's like having all the ingredients and tools to whip up any digital dish you can dream of.
And that's the beauty of full stack development.
Yeah.
You can create complete solutions from the user interface.
All the way to the behind-the-scenes logic.
The behind-the-scenes logic, solving real problems, bringing your ideas to life.
So for our listeners ready to jump in
Yes.
and start building, what's the best way to get going?
The sources we've explored today are a great starting point.
Okay.
I encourage you to go back, review the code examples, play around with the concepts, build some small projects to really solidify your understanding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to experiment,
Right.
to break things. That's how we learn.
That's how we learn.
And remember, you don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
There are so many libraries and frameworks out there to help you along the way.
Absolutely.
As you gain experience,
Yes.
you can start digging into more advanced topics like connecting to databases
Managing user accounts.
and deploying your app for the world to use.
For the world to use, there's a whole universe of full stack development out there waiting to be discovered.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly.
And with the right attitude, resources, and a sprinkle of creativity, anyone can become a skilled full stack developer.
Anyone.
Before we wrap up, I want to share something that really stood out to me as we went through all this.
Okay, I'm all ears.
What is it? It's not directly mentioned in any of our sources,
Okay.
but it struck me as crucial for being successful in this field. It's about embracing the challenge of constantly learning and adapting.
That's a great point. Things change so quickly in this world.
Yeah,
New libraries, frameworks, and best practices are always popping up.
exactly. To thrive as a full stack developer, you need to be comfortable with stepping outside your comfort zone,
Right?
exploring new technologies, continuously improving your skills.
And that's where the real excitement lies.
Yeah.
The continuous learning and problem solving keep things fresh and engaging.
Right.
It's not just about writing code.
Yeah.
It's about developing a growth mindset.
Well said. So for all our aspiring full stack wizards out there, remember that the journey of learning is just as rewarding as the final product.
Absolutely.
And with that, I think we've had a pretty comprehensive deep dive
We have.
into the world of building full stack web applications with React.js and Node.js.
Yes, we have.
To wrap up our deep dive today, I think the biggest takeaway is that anyone can embark on this journey of building full stack web applications.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With the right resources and a bit of dedication, this whole world
Of full stack development.
is open to anyone.
Yes.
Now, before we wrap things up,
Okay.
I want to leave our listeners with something to think about,
Yeah.
kind of a challenge,
Okay.
as they start building their own apps.
I like it.
We've covered the tech side, the tools, how it all works together.
Right.
But what about the people using these apps?
Oh, that's good.
How do you make sure
Yeah.
your creation not only functions well,
Right.
but also really connects with users
Yes.
on an emotional level?
That's a brilliant point. It's like the difference between a meal that fills you up
Yeah,
and one that makes you want to tell everyone about it.
exactly. It's about going beyond just functionality and thinking about how your application makes people feel.
That's where design thinking comes in.
Okay.
And understanding user experience, putting yourself in the user's shoes,
Yeah.
figuring out their needs, what they love, what frustrates them. Then you can build an experience that delights them,
Okay.
surprises them,
Yeah.
maybe even makes their lives a little easier.
It's like the difference between a website that just gives you information and one that tells a story, pulls you in, and leaves a lasting impression.
Exactly. And that's the challenge I'll leave you with.
Okay.
As you build your full stack skills, remember that the technical side is important,
Right.
but it's that human touch that makes your creation truly special.
That's the perfect note to end on.
I agree.
So to all our listeners out there,
Yes.
happy coding.
Happy coding.
And may your full stack creations be both functional and deeply engaging.
Beautiful.
That's all for our deep dive today.
See you next time.
Catch you next time for another adventure into the world of knowledge and discovery.